Here's a wedding planning tip for you. Write that guest list in pencil, honey, okay? Because people be acting real strange during some of the biggest moments of your life. Isn't that ironic? I'm happy, I'm in love, I'm planning a wedding, and you're acting weird. Nothing a quick eraser can't fix. Goodbye.
Hello, beautiful people. How you guys doing? How's everyone doing? Hope you guys are doing great. Welcome back to my channel. Queen Shoma here. So on today's video, we'll be talking about what you would change in your wedding plan if you are to do it all over again. So we're going to watch some videos of a bride talking about what they would change in their wedding plan if they are to do it all over again. And guys, please don't forget to share your thoughts and your opinion in the comment section and tell us what you will change in your own wedding plan if you are to do it all over again. So guys, let's go and watch the videos, and when we come back, we'll talk a bit about it.
The part about planning a wedding is not the planning of the wedding. It's not the venue tours, the cake tasting, and the music selection. The hardest part about planning a wedding is all of the hard conversations that need to happen. It's the melding of your expectations and your partner's expectations and everybody else's expectations, and how do you piece that all together without losing your ever-loving mind? And in order to achieve that, we have to have a lot of uncomfortable conversations. Conversations about money, conversations about boundary setting. This is like real grown-up shit. You're probably thinking, I'm just a little baby. I can't even call my dentist. For most people, planning a wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime benchmark achievement. So this once-in-a-lifetime day with a once-in-a-lifetime budget kind of has this baggage of this once-in-a-lifetime expectations. And if everybody involved has a different definition of what that means, no shit, we're going to have a hard time compromising. And if you are prone to people-pleasing tendencies or defecting at the first sign of conflict, that's not going to do you any favors in the long run. There's a very high likelihood that for many of you, planning your wedding is going to be the first opportunity you get to be the adult. You get to be in the driver's seat. You get to make the decisions. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. A lot of people are used to saying, I don't know, this isn't really my wheelhouse. Let me talk to my mom. Let me see what she says. She knows about these things. Baby, this is your day. You get to call the shots. It's your job. Your vendors aren't going to answer to anybody but you. For a lot of people, that's where I see them struggle. They've either never had the opportunity where they needed to be the authority figure, or they've never had the opportunity where they needed to stand up against someone that's a little bit scary to stand up against. Maybe you're the brave one. Maybe you're the cycle breaker. You're like, I'm not doing those traditions that they want me to do. Standing up for yourself and setting boundaries, that's big girl shit right there. You and your partner starting a new chapter, paving your own path, that's the whole point, and that's the hard freaking work of wedding planning. If you're in the trenches right now, my hat's off to you, because shit's hard. It's hard, but it's worth it. It is so freaking worth it.
My wedding day was one of the top 5 worst days of my life, and as I've been posting a little bit about this on TikTok, there's been like a slew of comments of hundreds of people agreeing that it was a very traumatic day for them. So I made a list of things I would do differently. So if you are a future bride, pay attention. First of all, I would have not allowed other people to pay for the wedding. I come from a very traditional family. I am very blessed in the fact that my parents paid from start to finish the entire wedding. My in-laws contributed a little bit too. We are very blessed in that way, but if they didn't pay for the wedding, basically every other problem would have been solved. First of all, then Chris and I would have had to pay for the wedding, and we don't have nearly as much savings or anything as my parents, so the wedding would have had to have been more simple. It would have had to been less. And so I think if it like came from us, it would have really had to come from like our heart. Not that we were abusing our parents' money or anything like that, but then other people have say. Once people are paying for things, then they have say in what you do. And my parents, I struggled with that with them. It wasn't horrible. I've heard way worse horror stories, but like, they just wanted to invite people that I didn't know. And I think a good rule of thumb, whether you do have a big wedding or a small wedding, like if you're not getting a text from someone to congratulate you on the engagement, like they shouldn't be going to the wedding. And that's not to like threaten people, like if you didn't text me, but it's like a good like rule of thumb. Like my mom's second cousin is not texting me. I don't even have her number. I've never even met her in person. You see what I mean? So that would have just solved a lot of problems. I also would have either dug more and leaned more onto my bridal party or not have done a bridal party at all. I think that both can be good. I took the stance of like, I wanted to check a box and have a bridal party, but I didn't want to put any of my friends out because I didn't want to like traumatize them and like put all the pressure that I was feeling on them. But I think that like a good friend would be happy to help. And I didn't take that. And I have really great friends and I didn't like let them help me. And I really wish that I did. I wish that Chris and I, before we booked any vendor, we asked ourselves the question of, is this vendor going to enhance our union or is it going to enhance the guest's experience? Weddings today are way too much about the guest's experience, in my opinion, and I think that that would have been like a helpful thing for us to ask. Just in general, I also wish that we had like more moments alone and like with God. I'm a Jesus girly. And my favorite part of the entire day was the ceremony because it was like very God focused. And it was truly like the best 25 minutes of my life. So I just like more of the day should have been about that. And then I just wish that like I didn't make the whole thing a part-time job, because I would like end work and then up until the late hours of the night, if you're a bride, you know what I mean? You are on your computer working. It is a part full-time job, like seriously. And then it's like, it's just a day. It's all just for a day. And I wish that I just like knew and really like remembered that like, it doesn't need to have all this pressure. Like it really doesn't. The day is just a day to celebrate your love, your union.
What I would change about our wedding if we could go back and do it all over again. Hey, I'm Lindsay. I just got married in April 2024. I'm here to help the brides that are planning their wedding. 1, I would switch the time that we got married back to 4 o'clock. Our wedding was from 5 to 10, but by the time the ceremony was over and we got our pictures and everybody got down to the reception and everybody got done eating and we did the cake, garter toss, bouquet toss, first dances, we only had like an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours to dance with all of our guests. And I know what you're thinking, 2 hours, wow, that seems like a lot of time. False! It actually was so fast. Like almost a blur, but wasn't a blur. I would make the wedding longer. 2, I would make it a point that our caterer made extra boxes of food to put in our car for the way back to our hotel. And yeah, we got time to eat, but not really. We ended up stopping at QT and getting the roller corn dogs, but we really wish we had extra of our food from the wedding, because I can promise you're gonna be hungry. 3, I would have donated our extra flowers to a nursing home. But honestly, think about it. You have so many leftover flowers from all of your table arrangement, bouquets, boutonnieres, table arrangements. What are you gonna do with all those flowers? Yeah, I mean, you could take it home. I just truly think I could have made a difference with those flowers and given it to somebody who might could have gotten a smile out of it. I don't know, because like, how sweet is that?
Hi, I'm a 2023 bride, and here are some things I'm just doing a little differently for my wedding. Number 1, we are not doing +1s. It's not in the budget. I'm sorry. If I don't know you, I don't want you at my wedding. Number 2 is we're not serving food. So we're just going to remind our guests beforehand to eat something. There's not going to be food at the event, and to maybe bring a Cliff Bar or something like that. Number 3 is no decor. So I know it sounds crazy, but we were thinking of ways to cut costs, and we came up with putting little white signs on each table that actually say decor. This is a super funny way to like nod to it, and it's also actually super cute. Number 4 is we are not having a DJ or a band. We're actually just playing my covers. So I'm a singer, and I have been recording tons of songs in the past year. So we're just gonna plug in my phone, put it on shuffle, and it's a super awesome way to personalize the dance floor. Number 5, we're not doing vows. We have decided instead to just list what the other person should improve upon in marriage. This felt like a really honest, awesome way to start a great foundation, and it felt really us. For number 6, we're actually not going to have guests with brunette or dark hair. We're saving so much with the decor and the food that we are going to be providing lighter haired wigs. That way I feel special, everyone else feels beautiful, and it just felt like a good compromise. Number 7 is we do not have a venue. I am actually just going to be sharing my location on the day of, depending on where I am, and then our guests, because they're going to find us. And number 8 is I'm actually not inviting my fiance. A lot of brides do. I'm choosing not to. It's your wedding, and you should do it the exact way you want to do it. So just let me know if you want a part 2.
My wedding day was terrible. A lot of things went wrong. A lot of things went right. This is the only thing that went right here. I married her. That was the only thing that went right? So here are things that I would do differently if I had to do it again, which we're not.
Do what?
We're not doing it again. The wedding thing.
Oh, doing a wedding?
Yeah, we're not doing it again. So here's what I would do differently. Number 1, I will not spend $10,000 on my wedding. That's a down payment for a house. And number 2, right after that, I would have a much smaller invitation list. That guest list was way too big, and more than half of the people that we invited, we don't talk to anymore. Go figure.
Terrible.
Number 3, I wouldn't take the photographer that I hire so willy-nilly. I would be a lot more serious about that. For context, we paid a lot of money, which I think $1,000 would be on the cheaper end nowadays, but still, I didn't get my wedding pictures until a year after. Exactly a year after. And number 4, something my wife just said, I would keep my phone on me at all times to take photos myself, because there were a lot of moments that we wanted captured that just weren't captured.
So I got married this time last year and I had an amazing wedding. In fact, everyone was like, oh my God, that's the best wedding we've ever been to. And I feel like they say that about everyone, but it was really good. But of course, if I was to go back in time, there are a few things that I would definitely change. So let's talk about it. So of course, and do you know what? A lot of brides say this, no bridal party. And do you know what? Like on the actual day, I loved having my friends around me, and it was beautiful having my friends and loved ones around me. But the drama leading up, and they know this too, it was just so stressful, and stress that wasn't necessary or needed. So if you just want to save just like unnecessary, unneeded stress, falling out with like, just leave it. It would just be me, my maid of honor, best man, my husband, like that's it. The groomsmen were alright, but my husband's very kind of firm in what he does, and that's probably going to be my next point actually. So yeah, my next point is make sure you stick to your rules. If you and your partner have discussed something and said, okay, we don't want this, we don't want that, we don't want children, for example, make sure you really stick to that. And as I said, my husband's quite firm, so, and I'm a softie. So if someone's upset, I'm like, how can I make it better? Forgetting why we made the rule in the first place. Do you know what I mean? And that causes more drama and more stress, because it's like, you've made a rule because of a specific reason and they didn't like the rule, and then you end up not liking your day. Or I mean, I had a good day, but it just ends up being like not what you want. So just make sure you stick to your rules and just be really firm and unapologetic about it. For me, I'm a very soft, empathetic and quite apologetic person, and quite like, so I'm like, well, I really try to accommodate everybody, and I think that was probably one of the biggest mistakes I made. And then give your bridal team clear rules from the start. So once you've done like your, you know, will you be my bridesmaid thing, like, and they say yes, make sure that you give them like a role from the get-go. So be like, hey, you're going to be in charge of my bridal shower, you're going to be in charge of the hype crowd, and it will just make life a little bit easier. And of course, on the actual day, make sure that they adhere to the rules as well. Do you know what I mean? Like it just makes everything a lot easier. At that time, I was touring. Those that don't know, I'm an actress and a creative, and at that time I was doing an acting gig and I was touring, so there was a lot of things that I couldn't do. So if I had like roles from my bridal team from the get-go, I think that would have made life a lot easier. And in saying that as well, like I would have definitely taken more time with picking out my dress, like a lot more. Now, as I mentioned before, like because I was touring and going up and down the country, and at the time we were moving house and we had our traditional wedding and our white wedding within the space of 3 months, and on top of that, me touring around the country. It was stressful. So when I saw my wedding dress, I was like, yeah, whatever. And I made a mistake. So as you can see, the back of my dress, I didn't even notice that it was like that. And I'm like, oh my God, like I would have taken my time a lot more. So make sure you just let things like marinate. Like if you pick something, of course, make a decision, but like, just make sure it's the right decision. Do you know what I mean? The front of my dress was lovely, but I didn't realize until the wedding day that the back of the dress looked like that. No one could tell me either. They're like, oh, you look beautiful. I'm like, really, guys? And my catering, like, I know my caterer follows me on TikTok, and the food was lovely, but she couldn't do everything. So we had to hire a lot of like extra staff. So we had to hire extra staff, cleaners, evening food, and that kind of added just an extra bleh about it. And there was nothing wrong with the food. We got so many compliments about the food. Everyone really loved it and enjoyed it. However, I think it's just better to get a caterer that can just literally do everything. Do you know what I mean? And provide everything as like one big package, rather than like, we can only do this, we can only do that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed those tips. And as I said, like I could do probably 10 amazing things that went well, because it genuinely was an absolutely amazing day. So if you want me to tell you about the things that went right, I will go on about it.
Things I would change about my wedding if it wasn't too late. Hey y'all, I'm a 2023 bride and I am getting married in spring 2023. But there's just some things that if I can go back, I would definitely change them, but I can't because it's kind of too late in the planning process. The first thing I would change is my bridesmaids dress colors. It's my favorite color, the dress that they're wearing right now, like that color. But it just doesn't go with the aesthetic that I have now for my wedding. And it took me time to develop an aesthetic for my wedding, and now that I have one, it just does not really go with it. But it's really too late because a few of my bridesmaids have already purchased their wedding dress, which I love, but also it's like I want it to be a different color, but it's too late. Next thing is the venue. I actually really like my venue. I enjoy it, but I do feel like I could have got something like a little bit less expensive. My venue is kind of expensive. It's not too bad, but it does come with a lot. So if I could change it, I wish I brought a little bit more for it, but you know, it is what it is at this point. Another thing is having kids in the wedding. Now, I don't fully regret doing this. I mean, I partially do, because the kids that I did ask to be in the wedding, I do want them in the wedding. But also, it's really hard to coordinate for kids. It's like you have to get the kids and the parents, you know, and that's just like kind of a hard thing to do. Like the kids don't have no money, so you really have to kind of go out of your way to make stuff happen when you have kids in your wedding. If I could go back, I would have less bridesmaids. I got too many bridesmaids. I don't need that many. For some reason, in the beginning when I was planning, I thought that I needed to have 10 bridesmaids. But if I can go back, I would have 5 or 6. No plus ones. If I go back, I would have no plus ones. I think right now I could still do it, but it just will be a little bit trickier. But I just feel like, first of all, it makes the guest count go down, which is great. I don't want a whole bunch of people who I don't really know there just because they're a plus one. And I just feel like it would be way simpler to not have plus ones. Initially, I wanted them because I wanted everybody to feel comfortable if they were coming maybe by themselves. But now I'm just no plus ones. And I might put that for future invitations or whatever. I would do a weekend bachelorette trip in a city that's close to me. Although I really want to go to somewhere tropical vibes, get away for a week thing. It's hard on my PTO. I don't have that many days already. It's expensive. It's hard to coordinate, and it's a headache. I just wish I could have a New Orleans 3-day bachelorette party, okay? And the last thing, I will not plan anything besides the wedding, okay? I know that I'm very opinionated. I want stuff how I want it, but honestly, the headache of planning additional things dealing with the wedding on top of already planning the wedding is just too much. It's a headache, and I wish I could just take it back and be I ain't planning nothing but this wedding. If you have any of these, what are yours?
There is this weird myth around weddings where everything just is perfect. You don't have any regrets. It is so normal to have regrets about your wedding, wish you'd done things differently. As long as that regret isn't the person that you married, then you're all good. I'm gonna get into some of the things that I wish I would have done differently about my wedding. Here's a photo of my reception. I am so grateful. I had a beautiful wedding, very, very grateful. I had a big wedding, a really big wedding. I'm the oldest daughter, first to get married in a very Italian, very traditional family. So of course my parents wanted to go all out and invite everybody that they know. The number of people was really fun, tons of people to talk to, lots of dancing. However, if I were to get married again, I would do a smaller wedding. So many things get lost, you miss so many details, you spend so much time saying hello to everybody, talking to everybody. I think 75-80 is the sweet spot. Here's me on my wedding day without my veil. Second regret, I loved my hair, it was gorgeous, but I had about a pound of extensions in there. So I would do something not so heavy next time because I definitely had a headache by the end of the night. Third, I did not like my photographers. I feel bad saying that. I got some good photos, but a lot of them were candids and not enough staged photos and posed photos. This is one of the only ones of me and my husband that's close up, and I had to crop it in. It's just too many candids, and they weren't good at getting the family shots. So be careful when you're looking for a photographer. Make sure that there's a mix of candid and posed traditional shots. I don't want to be all negative, so here's one thing that I really, really loved about my wedding, and that's my
all the things I regret doing at my wedding. That was 13 years ago, from a wedding professional who's been to over 500 weddings, and just somebody who's generally lived life and can now look back and be wow, that was really dumb. I love this de-influencing trend, and I thought this would be a good way for me to help anybody who's getting married, thinking about getting married, make some more informed decisions. First up, I had a huge bridal party. I was 23 years old when we got married, and I had 10 bridesmaids. My husband had 10 groomsmen. I was so worried about the numbers being even on either side. I let so many people in my wedding that I don't even speak to anymore, and it's so disappointing. And my husband didn't even have enough, so I let him have my brother and some of my male friends to be on his side. That's just how much I was consumed with, it has to be 10 and 10 on each side. And the bridesmaid have to wear the same thing, the groomsmen have to wear the same thing. Like, none of that really matters at the end of the day. Nobody's going to look at your pictures and be like, oh, that's weird. There's only like 5 on one side and 7 on the other side. Looking back, I would have just done family and my 2 best friends. Those are my forever people. And, yeah, like I even had like my brother's now ex-wife, and she was my maid of honor, and just so many regrets. Second would be the location we got married. I told my husband, I was like, we have to get married in the church I grew up in. And the church I grew up in, like, love it, great place, but it looked like an airport lobby. It wasn't one of those like big, beautiful, grand cathedrals or anything like that. So it literally just like looks so sterile. And I just got married on like this wooden block. And I don't know, like, it just wasn't as beautiful as it could have been. And so looking back at pictures, it's really disappointing. I felt like that was just something that I had to do versus something that I like really wanted to do. The guest list. This is like one of my biggest regrets. I look back and I'm like, why were you there? Why were you at my wedding? Even then, like, it was unnecessary to invite the people that I did. There were over 250 people at my wedding, and man, did I miss some really special people who are still a huge part of my life now. And it's something that like haunts me to this day. And because I wasn't as diligent with the guest list as I could or should have been, there ended up being just so many people at my wedding, and I had all those mouths to feed, and I had all those people to seat, and everything else had to be cheaper. The florals, the venue, everything, because like I was so obsessed with the idea of fitting these people in. And at my wedding, again, chaos, so many bodies. The food at our wedding sucked because I had to feed everybody, and we didn't have the money to feed everybody. So yeah, like for part 2, I guess, if like you liked this.
Things I regret buying for my 2024 wedding. First, the branded cups, koozies, napkins, all of it, they were not used, not even in any photos. I just wouldn't do it. The getting ready robe, I did not use it, and I could have saved myself some money on that. The disposable cameras, guys, I spent like $1,000 on these because I wanted photos from the guest point of view, and they were forgotten about. The ones I did get were like blurry and bad. It was just, if I could do it again, I would definitely use like a photo app instead, like one of the ones where there's a QR code for you guys to scan and like join the shared album. My friend did this at her wedding last week. She used the app Dots Memories, and it was so easy. They got a lot of great photos, and I wish I would have done it. Okay, I could list so many more things not to spend money on, but a big one for me was my seating chart. I like rented this huge thing with a backdrop, and your guests look at it for 30 seconds. If there's anything you regret buying at your wedding, I'd love to hear. I think the brides could use a little bit of de-influencing.
Honestly, probably changed the length of my reception too. So I think we were done dinner probably around like 8 or maybe even 7, and then we had the place until midnight. So for me, I'm like, I'm not gonna dance for probably like 6 hours straight. Who's gonna do that anyway? Like, that's kind of unrealistic. So I would have much rather had like a shortened dance, maybe like 7 to 9 or 8 to 10, and then had like a killer after party afterwards. Why would we spend the money on the after party or have an after party instead of having a 7-hour-long dance reception? Why are we?
So guys, do let me know what you think about this in the comment section, and please share with us what you would change in your wedding plan if you had to do it all over again. So I feel like wedding is a one-day event, and you should be able to plan your wedding yourself, give rules of what you want and what you don't want on your wedding day. Even if you have an event planner or you're the one planning your wedding yourself, you should be able to set out your rules. Tell the person, this is what I want on my wedding day. This is how I want this thing to be. This is the kind of color I want. This is how I want my guests to dress. This is the dress code for that day. This is the kind of food that is going to be prepared. Like, it's your wedding. You should be able to set out rules, what you want and what you don't want on your wedding day. Don't allow anybody to plan your wedding for you. To avoid regret later, you'll be like, oh, I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have done it this way. I wish I could have done it like that. Take your time, plan your wedding, what you want, what you like, and what you don't like. I feel like what you should plan most is the marriage, not even the wedding. Wedding is just for one day. Marriage is for a lifetime. So plan your marriage. Don't spend all the money you have on wedding, and at the end of the day, when you get home, you don't have money to do anything, to pay for bills, to eat. So try and invest more in your marriage than weddings. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section, and please don't forget to like my video and subscribe. Thanks for watching.